Maybe I can help you. I am Boba Fett.
Hi, I'm Cole Horton. I'm the author of multiple Star Wars books. I've worked on Star Wars Absolutely Everything You Need to Know, Star Wars The Visual Encyclopedia, amongst others. I'm at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, and we're talking about Star Wars Absolutely Everything You Need to Know, the updated and expanded edition. It's actually part of the Journey to the Last Jedi series of books. It'll be out in September on Force Friday, and it's an updated version of the book that came out in 2015. But a lot has happened since then, so we had a lot more to add. Obviously, Boba Fett is a fan favorite for almost all fans, but we live in interesting times with Boba Fett because, Absolutely Everything was one of the very first books, really fact books, that got to look at Boba, amongst other things, and delve into what's important about him. So, of course, there's everything we knew from the films, but then, Boba's story is really right now what we know from the films. Of course, now there's some comics and things like that. But as we're working within the new storytelling, we really want to stick to that current storytelling. And it's the stories that define canon. Facts and figures aren't what define canon, it's what comes out of a story. And so we want to make sure that all the right story beats have been explained and looked at without just making up new story beats. That's not really the place of a guidebook. That's really for storytellers who are going to make Boba even more awesome throughout stories. So one of the most important things when we're working on a book like Star Wars Absolutely Everything You Need to Know or the Visual Encyclopedia is making sure that when we're filling out those facts and those interesting bits of trivia, we're not writing something that's going to box in future storytellers, right? I don't want to say something in an offhand trivia beat that now everyone's going to be beholden to, and that's not really our role at all, and they wouldn't be beholden to it. So our job is to take what storytellers have done in stories and then bring that to life in new ways and explore that in different or deeper ways that maybe the stories couldn't always get to. In Star Wars The Visual Encyclopedia, we wanted to do something a little bit different. It's not just about giving people the nitty-gritty that they really need to know. It was more about shining light on things that had never really been seen before, or maybe had only been seen in the backgrounds or off in the peripheral. So what we did there is we organized the whole book into sections and topics. So of course there's things like lightsabers and Jedi and Luke Skywalker, things like that. But we also did things like food and luggage, whole spreads just on weapons. And for the first time, rather than organize those things by maybe scenes or characters in the movies they were in, putting them all in one place, so you really have a survey of all of those items there, and you can look at them side by side. It was a lot of work actually to pull all of that out, right? How do you write a whole spread on luggage? Right? How do you write a whole spread on communication devices and things like that, holoprojectors? A lot of those things that were in the movies and were often in a lot of the older guides, but they were used, in the smaller space, in the blank spaces, and they didn't really get the spotlight. This book was all about shining the light on those. Really, no matter what the book is, the research process is largely the same. So for me, I always start with the films and work my way from there. And so I'll usually on a big project like the Visual Encyclopedia or Absolutely Everything, I'll rewatch all the episodes of the Clone Wars, knowing that I'm looking for specific stuff as I go through. But I also stay current on all Star Wars storytelling right now. So every book, novel, comic, game, anything that's telling a story is something that I want to make sure that I'm up to date on. And so what I like to do is take the big facts from maybe the films of the Clone Wars and then sprinkle in some of the little breadcrumbs to some of the other stories, because what I find is that not everyone has the ability or the time to read absolutely every piece of storytelling that's out there right now. And so I like to give people little hints so that then they can go off and explore some of that on their own.